Hi, I'm immigration attorney Ashley, and in this video, I want to talk about a topic that I frequently talk about during consultations. And the topic has to do with a US citizen who has a girlfriend or a boyfriend in another country. So their partner is not a US citizen. They live in another country, and the US citizen wants to know if their boyfriend or girlfriend can come to the United States, and then after that, if they can get married, and then if they can start a case with immigration to get their partner a green card. So this is a very common scenario that I see during consultations, and I hope that the information in this video you find helpful. So what I typically tell someone in this situation first is that one option is that their partner could apply for a tourist visa to come and visit them in the United States. There are some important points to know regarding coming to the United States on a tourist visa and then getting married to a US citizen and not leaving. So the first thing is that when coming to the United States on a tourist visa, the person needs to show at the time of their entry. So at the time that they are arriving at a port of entry, whether it's at an airport or whether it's another land port of entry, for example, if they're coming into the United States from Tijuana or some part of Mexico where they're going to be driving across the border or walking across the border, the first thing to know is that at the time of asking for admission as a tourist, the person needs to have the intent to return home. So one way that you could show this is by having proof that you have a round trip ticket booked to go back home. So that's obviously if you came on an airplane, you would have proof that you've already purchased your ticket to go home in, let's say, sometime in the near future, perhaps the following week, perhaps the following 2 weeks. You could also show your intent to return home by having proof that you have a job at home that you have to go back to. Perhaps if you are renting an apartment at home and you can show that you have a lease agreement and you still have that apartment. If you own property, if you have, your bank accounts at home in your home country, if you're attending school at home, you would want to have proof of the classes that you're enrolled in. You essentially want to be able to show an immigration officer, if they ask you, that you do have the intent to go home, that you're only asking to enter the United States for purposes of a temporary visit for pleasure. The second thing to keep in mind that I always tell the US citizen partner and their boyfriend or girlfriend if they are also on the consultation call is that the partner never wants to lie to immigration. So if the immigration officer asks what the purpose of their visit is, are they coming to visit a family member? Are they coming to visit a friend? Like, why are they asking to come into the United States? Your boyfriend or girlfriend or the boyfriend or girlfriend of the US citizen never wants to lie. So that is not the same thing as only answering the question asked though, right? So the main thing is just to be truthful. So if you are coming to visit your boyfriend or girlfriend, you of course would say that I'm coming to visit so-and-so. You would provide their name. I'm coming to visit, Brad Johnson. I'll make that name up. I'm coming to visit, Sarah Thompson, if it's your girlfriend, whatever. Then if the immigration officer asks you, well, who is that person? You would truthfully reply who it is to you. Oh, it's my boyfriend. Oh, it's my girlfriend. Okay, the reason you never want to lie is because that can actually cause you more problems down the line with immigration, whether it's coming again as a tourist, applying for some other kind of visa, or applying for your green card. If there is any record of you having ever made any kind of misrepresentation or not being truthful, that in and of itself can be a reason to deny your request with immigration, even if you otherwise would qualify for it. So you always want to be truthful. That's the second thing I tell the person during the consultation. The third thing that's very important to know is that it is possible in some situations for somebody to enter on a tourist visa and then to stay and get married and then file what's called an adjustment of status. That's a petition for green card through marriage to a US citizen. Things to keep in mind with that. Again, number one is that you must have the intention to go home at the time you're asking to enter the United States. That is very, very important. Now, if you then enter and you decide that you want to get married and you're gonna stay, that in some situations can work out. The main thing to know there is that you would not want to file any immigration paperwork within the first 90 days of having entered the United States. And the reason for that is because if you do, that's to say if you're married and then you file for your green card application within those first 90 days, immigration will automatically presume that you have made a misrepresentation when you entered as a tourist. If they automatically make that presumption, that would then require you to file a waiver as part of your green card case. That would just make your case more complicated. So the next thing to know is that you would not want to file anything with immigration for those first 90 days. Another question I get related to this is, well, at what point could we get married when my partner comes on a tourist visa? Technically speaking, you could get married at any point. You don't have to wait the 90 days to get married. However, if you enter on a tourist visa and then you pretty quickly thereafter decide to get married, let's say even 30 days later, although that's not legally not allowed, that is something from a discretionary standpoint that immigration could look at to say, hey, you know what, actually it doesn't really seem like you came here to visit. You actually came pretty shortly thereafter, you did get married, and now you're filing for your green card even though it's outside the 90 days. It could raise a little bit of a red flag. So that's something else I typically tell people. Just wait the 90 days before getting married and before filing your green card case. The next thing to know is that, of course, if somebody's coming on a tourist visa, they decide to overstay, they are going to be without a lawful status. And that's true even while their green card case, which we call an adjustment of status, that's true even once the adjustment of status is pending. Just having the green card case pending does not mean that your boyfriend or at that point your husband or wife is going to be here legally. They are still going to be considered to be out of status because at that point their tourist visa will have expired, or it's going to expire at some point while the adjustment of status case is pending, because typically a tourist visa only permits somebody to stay in the United States for up to 6 months. So the next thing to know is, can your spouse who is the beneficiary of the green card application, can they travel while their adjustment of status case is pending, and can they work in the United States while their adjustment of status case is pending? The answer to both of those questions is yes. Once their adjustment of status case is pending, they will be eligible to receive a work permit and a travel authorization that would allow them to depart the United States and return while their adjustment of status case is in process with immigration. Something very important to know there is that once that adjustment of status is pending, your spouse would not be authorized to leave the United States until they have that special travel permit. So that's to say they would not be able to just say, hey, I still have my valid tourist visa, I'm going to just leave and come back again while my adjustment of status is pending. That will not work. That will lead to immigration considering your adjustment of status case to be abandoned. So you definitely do not want to do that. So before this video gets too long, I'm going to end it here. Those are just some key points to keep in mind. Of course, every single case is different. This video should not be construed as legal advice. I'm just simply sharing information and my responses to commonly asked questions that I get during consultations for people who are in this scenario. If you have any questions or you want to schedule a consultation with me, feel free to call the office, and I would look forward to speaking with you.